A cis person has been cast in a trans role again. The latest in this age-old casting trend is Scarlett Johansson.
First of all, could you please leave Scarlett alone? She is sweet and delightful and is a national treasure. Leave Scarlett alone! Okay? Second of all, what do you mean a cis has been cast in a trans role? There is no such thing as a trans role or a cis role. There are characters that are portrayed by actors. They are playing make-believe. This is not a documentary. Now, I wonder if there's ever been a time where a gay, for example, has played a, quote, straight role. Yes, it happens all the fucking time. Now, did the straight people complain? No. Now, for the idiots out there who want to say, well, that's because there's just so many straight people. You're so prevalent, so you're not special, therefore you can't complain. It doesn't work in reverse. So get this through your head. If you're straight, you cannot complain that gays take straight roles. You're not special enough. For example, Gandalf. Gandalf the White, Gandalf the Grey, Lord of the Rings. That is a straight man. Wizards are not hags. Quote me on that. So why is it that a gay man played a straight role?
Who's reuniting with her Ghost in the Shell director to, once again, erase a marginalized community.
Scarlett Johansson playing a cyborg from Ghost in the Shell did not erase a community. Here's where it doesn't work. Here's where it all breaks down. Marginalized community? Who? The Japanese? How are the Japanese a marginalized community? So this little pixie gender bender, whatever she's... Nice rolled up sleeves there, Leave It to Beaver. It's viewing it from an American standpoint. So, Asians are a minority. Oh, so they're marginalized. Right, it's margarine. Can't believe it's not butter. Well, guess what? There are more Asians in the world than whites. So now who's marginalized? And nobody cares. And by the way, it's well documented, nobody cares. They interviewed people in Japan and were like, are you offended that Scarlett Johansson is playing this Ghost in the Shell girl? And they're like, no, not in the slightest. Not in the slightest. Couldn't give a fuck. And why is that? Well, it's because Japanese people are not walking around with fragile egos in need of being stroked. They're like, we're doing fine. We understand that this is a cartoon. It's make-believe. Not to mention, our make-believe intentionally makes our characters look more white, round eye, big eye, than we actually are. So it makes a lot of sense, actually, to cast a non-Asian character for this role. And if anything, doing a movie featuring a trans character is doing the exact opposite of erasing your marginalized community, you cunt. It's highlighting it. I mean, these people are trying to virtue signal and bring awareness to your stupid-ass cause. The cause of, I don't know what gender I am. Look down your pants. There it is. There's the answer.
Just below me. What did you fucking say? Just below me.
She'll play Dante Tex Gill, a real-life trans man and massage parlor owner in the movie Rub and Tug. A cis person in a trans role is and always has been a problem.
Oh, well, if you write out the text like that, I mean, it makes it sound so much more important. What is this, a Prager University video? It is and always has been a problem, highlighted even? Oh my God. Now, for sure, this is important. But notice that they did make the period yellow. Paging AJ+. AJ Plus does not make the periods yellow, which has always bugged me. Always. Here's what the problem is for you, my little confused sprite of a person. You are throwing a temper tantrum akin to what a toddler would do if they just shit their diaper. You want attention that you have not earned. And so you're doing whatever you can. You're making noises similar to crying. And then you're hoping that somebody comes by and cleans up your shit and gives you attention. Oh, what is it? What seems to be the problem? How can we help? You are not entitled to roles. You are not entitled to be noticed. We don't care that you have a little confusion with your gender. This is not a gold star that you can wear on your sleeve like, I'm special. Nobody cares. If you come to me and say, I'm trans, I say to you, who cares? I don't care. If you want to say, I'm trans and I'm one of the best chess players in the world, then I say, oh, interesting. Not the trans part, the chess part. Do something! You're not special because you. You must be special because you can do something. You can bring something to the table. You have achieved something. Cutting off your dick is not an achievement.
Allow me, a trans person and culture critic, to break down why.
Oh, he pulled rank. He's a trans person. Oh, have I ever started a sentence? Allow me, as a cis person. Allow me, as a guy who's aware he's a man. Let me, man, isn't he transplaining to us right now? That's the exact definition. If I got up and said, as a man and a social commenter, let me explain something to you. What a dick. It's interesting. You always wanted to add a dick to your body, and now you are just a dick.
For one, it deprives trans actors of work. Cis actors have far more advantages and access in Hollywood than trans folks do.
Deprives them of work. This is like the midget union of actors. Midgets are like, we're so upset. We can't have midget roles going to non-midgets. Here's the difference. It's hard to act like you're a midget, whereas acting like you're trans is fair game. This is as ridiculous. What kind of fucking sound is that? That's like a wild emu just rolling by outside. Okay. This is as ridiculous as having a union of actors specifically tailored to serial killers. Actual serial killers. And what is their gripe? Well, we're upset that serial killer roles are going to non-serial killers. Like Anthony Hopkins, he's never even killed anybody. So why is he taking the roles? Well, it's because it's acting, it's faking. You do not have an inside track to a role in a movie because you happen to be the thing that the character is in the movie. Remember when Michelle Pfeiffer played a teacher where she was trying to educate the blacks with Coolio? Yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer's not a teacher. Now, should teachers be upset? Are teachers being marginalized? Are teachers being erased? No. So here's the problem. You have to compete, if you're a teacher or not, with Michelle Pfeiffer when it comes to why that studio would give that role to that woman. She is an actress. Her job is to make believe that she is a thing. And by the way, there's a million other considerations like, will this make money? Do people care about this woman? Do people know this woman?
For one, it deprives trans actors of work. Cis actors have far more advantages and access in Hollywood than trans folks do.
Oh, really? Really? Is life fair? Is life kindergarten? Welcome to the real world. Where does this stop? How about blind people? Blind roles. Why was the movie Ray with Jamie Foxx, why was that role given to Jamie Foxx? Jamie Foxx can see. Actors who can see have far more advantages and access in Hollywood than blind actors. Wouldn't you agree? Hollywood and movies is a business. It is not a social service meant to represent all factions of society and boost you up, little buddy. Here's a movie about this little dude, girl. Oh, really? Well, can they act? Like, what's their resume? No, they can't. But doesn't matter because he's a trans. So come and watch the trans be a trans. Jesus.
There's no shortage of unbelievably talented trans actors who never get the chance to play or even audition for trans parts that go directly to more famous cis leads.
Well, here's the point of the story. If there are trans actors, then compete. There's a million other actors who don't get these roles either. And they're cis. And if a trans actor is actually an actor, then why don't they play cis roles? Ever thought of that? There's far more cis roles. I think it would be to their advantage to be able to play both. And to see this in action, look at gay actors. If you're a gay person, are you only supposed to play gay roles? That's gay. Don't do that. Play straight roles. And by the way, that's what gay actors have been doing for 1,000 years.
But there's another huge reason cis people shouldn't play trans, especially right now.
Why not?
It has harmful consequences in the real world.
No, it literally doesn't.
Where trans and non-binary people don't have the same legal protections and human rights as cis people.
Huh? What? How does the rights of trans people, and which rights are you talking about? Bathroom privileges? How does that have anything to do with the casting of a role in a movie? That was a total non sequitur.
And where trans women, especially trans women of color...
Oh, intersectionality coming in. Let's get that race guilt going on. Unbelievable. You got some bullshit complaint about trans people demanding roles from movie studios because... And all of a sudden we're worried about colored folk? What happened? What?
...are murdered at increasing rates.
Oh, trans people of color are murdered. Well, yeah. The colored people murder and get murdered more than the white people. So This is not a weird stat. That's absolutely normal. And by the way, just for anybody keeping score at home, the people murdering those trans people of color are people of color. Okay? So that's what you didn't just hear, but that's what I'm telling you now. Now you're hearing it.
Often because of the way media misrepresents them. When cis people play trans characters, it sends the message that being trans is just a performance.
No, it doesn't. Nobody takes that at all. That's absurd. That's like saying, I just saw King Kong the other day, and the monkey was CGI. So I think that sent the message that animals are fake. Animals are not real, and they are just artificial things that we can create on a computer.
When Eddie Redmayne and Jared Leto and Jeffrey Tambor play these parts, it tells audiences that trans women are just men in dresses.
So they take these shows that have gotten critical acclaim, have been put forward by Hollywood in a very big way, and he shits on it. He's like, nah, I'm not into that. Not good enough. We have something against the casting of these people who only dedicated their lives and are 1,000% behind their cause, trying to shed light on these people. And he's like, no, 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 no. Not happy. Try harder. This just comes across as anti-cis bigotry.
Which of course they're not. A brief look at Hollywood history shows that transmasculine people like me
Wouldn't really put the word masculine anywhere near you, bro.
rarely, if ever, get represented on screen.
So what? There's no demand for it. Literally, there's no demand for this. I am the audience. Okay, I'm the person that's going to spend money at a movie theater. If you said, Devin, do you want to see this dude get up there and bleed on about how he's a trans? I'd say no. I'm not spending 2 hours with this fuck.
And when we do, it's Hilary Swank and Daniela C. and Scarlett Johansson and Rachel Weisz. They get to portray us.
Yeah, talented actors. Oscar award-winning and nominated actors. Good. You should be thankful.
Cis women in those roles suggest trans men are just butch women disguised as men.
You said it. I didn't. That was you. But yeah, it's a good point.
And that's not true. Cis actors playing us delegitimizes our identity.
Identity. Well, I think you need to figure out your identity. You seem to be in transition, so I'm not sure what you are. Why don't you become secure with who you are, and then stop carrying a chip on your shoulder and worrying about what other people think of you? And by the way, you're never going to police and control what other people think of you. If you're going to do what you just did to your biology and to what is the obvious truth that we can all see, then we're going to have our opinions about it. And eliminating Scarlett Johansson from a movie ain't gonna do nothing about that.
Reduces us to dangerous stereotypes.
There's nothing dangerous about stereotypes. Stereotypes are all true. Every single one. Every single one is more true than false. Grapple with that and come back at me with a not all. Please, please come back at me with a slogan I sell on t-shirts. Thanks.
And fails to capture the nuance and
Nuance, that's an N-bomb.
truth of who we are. And when cis actors win awards for playing trans, they're called courageous and brave.
Oh no, but you're the brave one. Yeah. I want to grow up to be just like you.
Not to say those people aren't talented, but there's nothing brave about you mimicking our lives.
Oh, your lives are so complex. It's so infinitely fascinating. God, I can't imagine. Wow, I'd love to see just a feature-length film. Fuck it, how about a Netflix series? Can we get more? I need more content of you talking about your gender bender shit.
Being trans is not an acting exercise, and no longer can it be a cis actor's quick ticket to an award. Sure, an A-lister like Johansson guarantees bigger box office than a lesser-known trans lead.
Right, so that's the end of the story. Bye, see you everybody, drive home safe.
But more audiences seeing an inaccurate parody of who we are is more damaging than doing it right.
And it's not a parody. They go out of their way to give a fair and kind portrayal. The whole point of the project is to do right by the trans community. It's not a parody in any way.
Plus, who's to say a film with an unknown minority lead won't make it to the Oscars?
Logic.
Just look at Moonlight and A Fantastic Woman.
Yeah, those were made by talented filmmakers, and Hollywood rewards them because they want a virtue signal. Moonlight, by the way, that was because everybody in the cast was black. That's why that won the award. Because it came in the wake of the Black Lives Matter movement. And the Hollywood shits thought, oh, we'll save the world. Moonlight, you win Best Picture. La La Land, that's with rich white people. Fuck that. It's a better movie, but fuck them.
And that is the perfect model of what Hollywood needs to do more of. If Hollywood starts casting trans actors in all types of roles, trans and cis, leading and supporting, then those actors have a chance to grow and become household names.
Oh, really? Well, I guess you could apply that to any group, right? I mean, how about the Vietnamese acting union? Vietnamese Americans are being underrepresented in Hollywood films, have you noticed? Well, even though they're total no-names and there's absolutely no reason for them to just get hired because they're Vietnamese, well, if they did get hired, then people would know them, then they'd be household names. Shit, it almost sounds like you think Hollywood owes you a favor. It doesn't. If you are in demand, you can leverage that to force Hollywood to hire you. If not, you're fucked. And as far as becoming a household name, yeah, you don't just get that. That's the battle that every actor in the world, cis, trans, or otherwise, is going through.
And hopefully, one day, play an Avenger like Johansson.
See that? Hopefully, trans people will be the Avengers. So, in his world, he thinks that the best thing to do is to steal Scarlett Johansson's role. And this just goes to show you that they don't even understand their own principles. It's like, a Mexican in America saying, I'm pro-diversity. I'm pro-diversity. Diversity's good, right? Diversity, yeah. And what they mean is we want way more Mexicans in whatever and less whites. Now, if you turn around and said, well, okay, me and a bunch of white people, just like hundreds of thousands of white people, are going to move now into Mexico. Are you in favor or against? And they're like, we're not really in favor of that. But wait a minute, that's more diversity. See, you were the one saying diversity was good. So now your principle is coming back to bite you in the ass. And now we realize that you were only mentioning that principle to use it to your advantage. You actually didn't believe it. Just like the anti-racist people out there are not actually anti-racist. They actually are racist.
Right now, it's essential for trans people to tell their own stories, on camera and behind it. To all the cis actors out there like Johansson, now is the time to use your platform to elevate us.
No. Scarlett Johansson should elevate Scarlett Johansson. And do you know who wants that to happen? Her adoring fans. Like me. I don't care about you or elevating you. You are no one to me.
This album is dedicated to all the teachers that told me I never amount to nothing. To all the people that lived above the buildings that I was hustling from that called the police.